So, what can be done to rejuvenate Welsh high streets? Joining me is Owen Davies, who specialises in towns and regeneration. Bore da, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Why are some town centres, some high streets thriving, others not so much?
Well, towns are really complicated places, aren't they? Every town has different population, different characteristics, physical, economic. And it's really understanding what the different kind of makeup of each place is and why they may face different pressures, whether that's because a change of just local demand or because there's greater competition nearby. I mean, each town needs to be thought about in its own sense, I think, and that's really important. And now you can understand what the problems are that you're trying to address.
Generally, would you say that the Welsh Government is pursuing the right approach? You know, we've got a new strategy out once again.
Yeah, I think we're really good at writing policy and strategy in Wales. I don't think there's much you can argue with what Welsh Government is saying in their new policy statement. There's lots of really good ideas in there, and things like, you know, town centre first across government, I think we'd all support.
Yeah, and that policy, just to explain it to people, it means, so if you're going to relocate, I don't know, a government department or whatever, you're thinking of doing it in the town centre first,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely. And we've seen you know, slow progression of things like libraries to school buildings, which are outside of town centres, whereas they would have traditionally been in a town centre setting. So it's kind of taken it down to that level as well. But I kind of think, yeah, you know, the policy statement's really good, but it's what it doesn't say that I find more interesting. I think there's some more ambitious areas we could be exploring in Wales, even piloting to see if they can make a big difference. Well, I like to think that we've got, within our control here in Wales, we've got planning powers that we've seen being adapted to kind of better manage how we deal with second homes in Wales, for example. We could use those same powers to take a more ambitious approach to how we address our town centres through kind of large-scale regeneration. And we need to align that with maybe some more fiscal influence as well. So we know that we have to work really closely in Wales with Westminster, but you know, we don't really have much difficulty understanding what enterprise zones are or free ports. And in Wales, we'll soon have investment zones, which are coming through from the UK government after the last budget announcement. And just interested to see how we can take that kind of area-based approach to some of our most important town centres, the ones that need the most help and support, I think.
What about this idea that the leader of Welsh Councils, Andrew Morgan, is positing? You know, there has been a shift in how town centres look because of out-of-town retail parks or what have you. What about the idea of charging them higher business rates? I mean, the Welsh Retail Consortium hates it.
I think we need to look at our out-of-town developments because there's going to be a new wave of pressure. I think we're likely not to see many new developments out of town, but they're all reinventing themselves, and that adds extra pressure to town centres that are already struggling. So, you know, they're being looked at as maybe more leisure destinations, which is what we want to see in our town centres. However, the kind of fiscal measures that Andrew mentions, I think are really worth exploring. Maybe is there a way of ensuring that you have to pay to park your car in an out-of-town setting? I think what consumers' choice is the real key area here. You can levy more costs on business, but actually what we need to try and do is influence consumer behaviour to make a decision about whether they go out of town or whether they use their town centre. And car parking charges is always clearly one of the biggest issues that people talk about.
And there's obviously a huge role for government to play in terms of creating the environment here, but it's about the people on the ground, right? Living in these town centres who can really drive change?
Yeah, I think so. I think in the piece you saw Treorchy, and I kind of know that they've done really well there because the private sector, the business owners have kind of led the way. They've really activated the community. They've kind of driven the process forward. They've got a business improvement district. But you get a real sense that it's community driven. You've got business leaders, you've got business owners kind of leading the way, but the community really buy into that. And I think that's really strengthened by Treorchy would be seen to be doing much better than maybe towns of similar nature elsewhere.
And it really matters to people, doesn't it? The state of their high street. It's visible, you know, if it's down at heel, it can have a much wider impact.
Yeah, I think so. It's a confidence factor, isn't it? It's the most visible sign of our economy, and people see it as a representation of their place. And that's why I think everybody, even politicians, have a really strong focus on town centres. It's a real barometer of how places feel. And that's because town centres are more than just shopping destinations. They should be cultural, they're kind of social areas. And now, you know, they are really important for the way that people feel that their town and the community is best represented.
Okay, I'm afraid we have run out of time, but thank you so much for joining us, Owen Davies.
Thank you.